Hi everyone, this is Woody here. I thought I would make an instructional step-by-step video on how to set up the amazing Sidewinder on the Katana 2 with the H configuration. I think this is going to be really helpful and I'm going to do it step by step. First I'm showing it assembled, what it looks like, and why each thing is attached where. So, what I want to show you is, first of all, this is with a dual MAV setup. Okay, so dual MAV setup, it's just coming right over your right shoulder. It's very, very nice. It's a very easy setup. And later I'll show you what needs to be on your right side tank to make all the connections for it. Very simple. So, you can see on the Katana 2, the scrubbers attach. The top part of the scrubber here, which is a bungee, attaches up to your upper D-ring. Some people have a little circular D-ring going off the side. That sort of add additional support. Then the Katana 2 has a built-in connection for the scrubber. The top scrubber connection simply goes right there. You can see a bungee right here for my tank. The other one is right here on the bottom. My O2 line is going all the way under it to the back to the O2 connection, comes up, goes right over the right shoulder, plugs into your oxygen input for your dual MAV. Same exact configuration on the other side, same thing. Upper bungee of the scrubber to the upper D-ring. I have a weight, notice, built in. This is about a 2-pound weight built into the left shoulder that helps offset the stage 1 of the O2, which is on your right side. Works perfectly for me. I don't need any other weight because I use 2 steel 50s typically when I'm cave diving on this. I don't need any other weight for me in a dry suit. Anyway, same thing, upper clip right here into the upper and lower clip into the lower. Notice also my counter lungs are right inside of it. Right, so here's my shoulder straps right here. You're basically wearing these counter lungs against your back. And this is a very nice feature right here of the Katana 2. It has a quick fit system. So you can move this entire plate up or down, which is going to help where your basically your O2 sits. And everybody is a different height, so you want to play with that adjustment. I keep it as high as it can. We've added a bungee to suck the O2 up pretty tight against the Katana 2 when I'm wearing it. So that's the configuration overall. The loop just simply comes over and would be going into my mouth straight down this way. And I'm going to show you exactly the placement of where you should put each of the heads. You may want to put little markers on them, but you can see you want the stems of the heads kind of pointed right into sort of a V into the Katana 2 BCD. And then that should set it up just perfectly so when your loop comes over, it's right in your mouth. And of course the low pressure inflator hose just clips over and connects to the other D-ring. And then we add, which is a very nice feature I think, you'll see a waist strap. One is here and one is on the other side, and it just comes across your waist. Let me find it, it should be on the other D-ring. There it is, sorry I didn't have it connected. Bungee to bungee, this goes across your waist like so, and that just holds the wing in together. Okay, the next thing you need to know is how to set up your right tank. This is set up to connect to the dual MAV on the right side. So I have one standard low pressure inflator hose. Boom, plugs right into the bottom of the dual MAV. Very, very simple. The other one is a quick disconnect coming off the top of the right head. Very simple connection and quick disconnect. Lock it in, you're ready to go. This would be your dill, and you would simply hit your add button for your dill. That would be all set. This now is set up to add dill into the unit. The final step is really somewhat up to you. I have another line here that I could feed right into my dry suit hose from my right side. If you prefer, your left tank could come across and feed into your dry suit. Also on the left tank, I have one more connection that would go right here into my low pressure inflator hose, because as you know, it comes across over your left shoulder, so it's pointed perfectly to bring that hose underneath your arm. So it would go right underneath your arm, come here, connect that low pressure inflator hose in for your low pressure inflator hose inflator. Now, I know you're seeing the unit assembled, so we're gonna unassemble it so I can show you how to assemble each part of it. Step one of any good checklist should be the mouthpiece. Check the mouthpiece for tears. So I'm looking at the mouthpiece. I can see it says top, it's up at the top. I'm looking around it. Looks good, secure, no tears. Okay, step number two, checking the mushroom valves. I'm looking at them. Here's one mushroom valve, it's in and secure, no tears in it. Here's the other one, in and secure. It's a little wet. I just actually cleaned it a little while ago. Mushroom valves look good. Step three, inspect and lube the O-rings on the loop. Crystal lube, you don't need a lot. Very little goes a very long way. You can see I'm not going to use a lot. It's just a little bit. Like that's enough. Enough for a lot of these O-rings. So I have O-rings here on the DSV. You can see them. I'm just going around. Then I'll use my other fingers just to spread that little bit. Plenty left for me to lube the other one. Going around all the O-rings. And while I'm doing that, I'm looking at the O-rings. They look good. No tears. No nicks in them. The other loop O-rings, a little bit, goes a very, very long way. Again, there's O-rings on the loop connectors here. Looking at them, no tears, no nicks on that one. Plenty on my fingers left for the other O-rings, the other loop. No nicks, no tears. O-rings on the loop are lubed. Connecting the petrol to the unit, 4-pin, couldn't be any easier, plugs in, boom, ready to go. Putting the loop back together, you want to have an indication of where your mouthpiece needs to be. I sort of have it marked to where this sticker lines up with the edge of this. That's just for me. This is absolutely no definitive science here. It's going to be different for everybody. Very simple. Nothing should have to be too forced when you're putting anything together on any part of any unit. And you can see the final step of putting this loop back together are clips. They simply fit in. Again, shouldn't have to be forcing too hard. That one, you see how easy it popped in? That's how it should go. Pushing this in all the way. I'm sort of putting one in and then another. Some people squeeze them both and then do it. And then you push and you snap. I got this one just on that line, but boom, it's in. And now that's done. Next thing is to attach the loops to the actual unit. So I like to line it up. It's going to basically, the way I envision it is I have this straight down, because imagine that I'm in the unit, so my mouth will be about right here. So I'm just going to angle these in like this, angle it in like this, and then I'll attach those and tighten them up. After you visually inspect those mushrooms, you want to do a mushroom valve check. Open the loop and put the mouthpiece in one side at a time, like so. I blew into it, blew into the right side. It should not be able to have air go back through that mushroom valve, since air should be flowing to the right, so I could not exhale into it. Now I'm going to suck, and I should be not able to suck through the mushroom valve on the left side. could not. Mushroom valves are holding. Okay, the loop is now on, and you can see, if I show you right here, all I did was push it in. It has a little locking turn device. It turns there, and it turns there. It's as far locked in as it can go, and then your loops are on the unit, and this just lays back, and then it flips over your head, and that's about where my mouth would be. Okay, next is to do a linearity check. You're proving out the accuracy of your O2 sensors. My closed circuit gas is on 21% air. These are pretty much at 21. I'm right clicking, and my millivolts are 7, 7, 8, 6, and 8, 2. 7, 7, 8, 6, 8, 2. I will write that down. That's step 1 of the linearity check. Okay, when you have those numbers down, your next step is to simply divide that by 0.21, and that is going to give you a theoretical number. It will give you the number, the millivolts that it should be reading when you put 100% O2 into the system on the surface. That is the next step. The next step is to check your battery voltage. That's about 4 or 5 right-click buttons. I'm clicking to the right, 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 right. Keep going, right, right, right. 1.42 of a 1.5 volt battery. That means this battery is pretty healthy. Next step on the linearity worksheet, you simply take your millivolts and you multiply your millivolts, your theoretical millivolts, these numbers, by 1.6. That is your reading at 20 feet if you did an O2 flush to determine, are your O2 sensors reading accurately on the high end, which you would do at 20 feet underwater. You would note your millivolts with an O2 flush at 20 feet. Later come back and compare that and see how accurate it's reading on the high end of the millivolt readings as well. The last step of the millivolts check, you will now flush the unit on the surface during your assembly with 100% O2. You will wait for the millivolts to stabilize, and then you will write down what are those millivolts. You'll compare it to the theoretical millivolt column, and that will determine your accuracy of your millivolts on the surface with 100% O2. As I said, this step, where you multiplied it by 1.6, that we'll do later at 20 feet underwater. Okay, what I'm doing is the step I told you I would do. I am flushing the unit with 100% O2 on the surface. Typically it'll get between 98 and 99. And now I'm checking my millivolts quickly to the right, 44, 44, and 45. 44, 44, 45, roughly. I'll write that down. Okay, next step, time to pack the canisters with scrubber. So, the way I do this is I fill it all the way to the top, all the way past the line in there. I fill it to the top, then I'm going to pat it down with the screen on to where it goes down to that line. That's how I fill. I know some people do a third, and a third for channeling. I find this to be just as effective. There's different opinions about this, but many people that are very experienced that I know do it this way. So it's easy. It's one big pour and pour away. See, I'm going to fill it all the way up, right near the top. Okay, that's pretty close to the top. Flattening it out there, so it's pretty close to the very top. Now, take your screen, put it on. I like to use a rubber mallet because it's the vibration that actually creates the packing. You don't pound it, you just vibrate it. So I'm just simply putting pressure on the top of the screen and lightly going all around. I can already feel it going down. So by doing this, pushing it down against the cement while I'm doing it, it's creating the vibration. And I'm just gonna flip it so I'm doing a 360 all the way around. See, I don't have to smash it very hard, and you're gonna see very, very shortly, this is gonna work out perfectly where that screen is down to that line. A lot of people ask, well, why does it have to be right on that line? And that's so all of your springs in your canister will go all the way down, and all of the O-rings will go all the way down, and then you know it's perfect. So it's just that fast, everybody. You can take a look at this, and you can see that measurement line now all the way around. You can see the screen is just sitting right where it should be sitting. 30-second pat down, that's all you need. Okay, it's now time to install the head onto the canister. Before you do that, again, you have O-rings. So you're gonna lube them, both sides. Both heads have them on there, have O-rings on there, little bit, that's all you need. Literally, a tiny little bit is plenty. And while you're lubing it, I check them as well. So I'm just lubing it all the way around, and I'm visually looking. I can feel those O-rings, I can see them, and I'm doing my normal, no nicks, no crannies. If there's any little debris or whatever, I like to get that out as well right now. And you would do the exact same thing on the other head, on the other O-rings, before you mount those onto the canisters. Okay, now I'm going to mount the first head onto the canister. The lineup, you want to put lines where you have your different lineups. So I've marked these two to these two, but I've actually moved it some lately. But if you see these two lines or on these two lines, that's about where it's going to fit right for me on my Sidewinder. So I get it nice and flush. I'm not really pushing hard yet. I can just see that the first, if you will, O-ring is kind of even all the way around, and then it's simply a push straight down, and I'm going to hear like a double bump, like a bump, bump, spin. Shouldn't have to spin very hard. Then I tighten, and it's on perfectly. By the way, you simply repeat this exact same step on the other side with the other scrubber, so I'm not going to show you that, but you would essentially do the exact same thing. Okay, time to install the right canister onto the harness plate. So I like to get everything lined up. I have my right canister here, and it's going to go line it up to the right side of the BCD. Maybe this is the most logical way to do it. Just taking a look at everything, open up the inside of the BCD, and what you're going to do is you're going to take this lower clip right here, and it goes inside. It connects right here to the lower clip. That's step one. Okay, this bungee, the bungee part, this is how it comes installed. It's going to connect up onto your shoulder D-ring. So connect the non-bungee one first into the upper part of the strap, the upper strap inside the harness. So I'm just connecting it. Notice that my O2 is underneath it. The line for the O2 going back to the O2 was underneath these. Finally, you're simply going to take this and connect it up here to your harness, and that one is installed. Same thing for the other side, I'll show you that. Left side, line it up, connect it. I connected it already, same thing. The lower one to the bottom lower strap of the harness, and this is the bungee connected to the left upper D-ring on your shoulder, and this clip here is on the top clip inside the Katana 2. Your low pressure inflator hose is going to go over this line, so that it'll come across your chest and it would sit on you like this. And you can imagine now me putting my arm right through here, has my bungee available to strap my tank on. Okay, time to put the counter lungs on. So, they have our rings, a little bit of lube, doesn't take much. Look at your counter ring, our rings, and lube them all the way around, looking at them. They look good. Visually inspecting them, plenty of residue of that lube on my fingers for the other side, cleaning them, looking at them. Those look good. Now what I do is I get my counter lungs, I open the unit up first of all, open it up, get all your harnesses wide open like this, and I like to then just set it to the way it's going to be. My counter lungs are going to fit just like this inside of the Katana 2, and then you can see they mount pretty easily. They go, so you can see this right here is going to mount to this right here. I have to lift it up a little, and you have a clip that's built into the canister that I'm going to mount it to. So again, I line it up so you're not pinching it. I push all the way in. Should not be hard. By the way, this is for a heater. It's an option. It's if I want to heat my canisters. Okay, continuing with this step. This is your normal clip. So push it in all the way. It is in all the way. Clip, clip. Should not be hard to clip that in. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to show you. And comes over. There it is. Very easy. Goes in right here. Pushes in. Boom. Slides right in. Easily slides in. Nothing should be, if you're having to force anything, it means something is wrong. So it shouldn't have to be forced. The lighting's getting tough. Boom. Easy clip in. And now take a look at it. There they are. Ready to get in. You can see the shoulder straps go right over it. Counter lungs are installed. I'm now going to perform a negative check to make sure it holds negative. First step is simply open up the loop, suck everything out of the unit. Close it while it's tight, and you'll note that the counter lungs are indented and it's holding. I'm watching it hold. I'm watching my PO2. You can also watch your millivolts. You can right click to your millivolts. They're not moving. I'm going to give it about a minute. And after a minute, what I like to do is I want to open the loop. I should hear a puff. By the way, I also check and I listen. Not hearing any seeping at all. These are still holding. Now, when I open this, I'm going to hear a puff, and then I should see my millivolts and PO2 rise a little bit as well. Here comes the puff. You can see the loop hose is expanded. It puffed, and look at how it's rising. So it's a digital check of the negative check. Negative looks perfect. Next step is to check the ADV if you have one. I have an ADV on the right side. You can see the stem of the ADV is sticking out when the unit is pressurized. I push it and it adds pressure. That's working. My ADV button is also working. My overpressure valve is working. You can hear that coming out the other end as well. ADV is working. Final step, positive check. You could do this with your dill, or you could exhale into the unit to fill up your counter lungs completely as fill as they will go to see if it will hold a positive. And you can see I'm doing it all the way until the OPV fires. I feel them. I listen. Don't hear any leaks. I'm noticing that my millivolts are holding. My PO2 is holding. I like to do this for a solid minute. I make sure that everything is holding perfectly. And then I'm going to release the pressure after a minute. I should hear a puff. I should then see both my millivolts and my PO2 drop. So let's see if we hear a puff. Watch the counter lungs, they're still holding. Seems like a good positive. Watch the loop. When I open it, it should rescind. There's the puff, the loops went in, counter lungs are going in, PO2 is dropping, millivolts are dropping. Looks like I have a good positive. Okay, so this is the Katana 2 in the H formation Sidewinder. What you can see is I have a waist bungee strap here. Here is my low pressure inflator hose connected to this ring. Dual MAV up nice and high. Boom, boom, all right here. The lines are over my right shoulder. So that's very, very nice. You can see that these sit right on my hip bones here and here. Okay. And I'm going to turn around so you can see what it looks like from behind. See my O2 tank there. Here's my 2 scrubbers. You can imagine I would be in this diving configuration. My tanks would be right underneath them. These will sit on top of the tanks. And DSV. Okay, so this is the beautiful Sidewinder on the Katana 2. Really very simple to set up on the Katana 2. The final step, of course, would be a good pre-breathe. 3 to 5 minutes on land or on your boat, sitting down. You don't want to cheat with this, so either put your mask on or hold your nose so you're not bringing anything into the unit other than breathing the actual loop air inside to make sure that you're not channeling and that all the CO2 is removed and that everything is working, your computer is working. That's your final step before you then get to have perfection trim with the amazing Sidewinder on the Katana 2. And yes, mine is beautiful. She's all pink, especially made for me that way with my pink KISS shirt on. Enjoy!